Hello and welcome to episode 65 of the Your Way podcast. And I believe, welcome to 2026. We're actually recording this in 2025, but I think it's going live at the start of January. I am delighted to welcome another guest on this week. I have Jo Smith, or Jo the Channel, as she is known across the media of socials, with me today. I know Jo because we are in a mastermind together, and the bits of Jo's story that I know are very interesting, and I really wanted to get her on to talk about her journey, her path, things that she's done, how she's done it her way. And also from a very selfish perspective, I'd also like to know a bit more of it for myself. So there's like there's a double-layered edge today. I get to be nosy, we get to record it, you get to hear the fruits of our labour. So Jo, welcome.
Hello. What an introduction. Thank you. It's a delight to be here. So, yeah, and welcome to 2026. Feels weird saying that in
Yeah.
25, but yes.
I know. Oh, I tell you what we should do. We should do predictions. What's going to happen between now and when this podcast
Wow,
goes
I know. And
live?
we're going into a 1 year, so it's all very exciting. Well, not till February, but
Yes, very interesting. So, Jo,
yes.
without actually no, let's just start. I was gonna say without giving the game away, but tell people a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then we'll go back from there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. So, my name's Jo Smith, and you can find me across socials as Jo the Channel. The reason that's my handle across my social media is because I am the channel. So I channel all and everything, all beings, all things, like from galactic beings to angelic to spirit guides to ancestors to elementals to dragons, trees, like plants, like literally anything and everything I'm a channeler of. And I spent 25 years as a police detective. I retired in February 2025. And yeah, and then stepped into my business full time. Yeah, February 25.
Amazing. So you've had quite a year of initiation, being in
I
a 9 year
have.
and a year of
Yeah,
shedding.
there's been a lot of shedding. I'm not sure I've got any skins left as we sit and speak now in November. I feel like there's potentially another one or two to go. But yeah, it's been a year. It's been a year. It's been a journey, for want of a better cliche. And yeah, and what has happened since I retired, it's like the floodgates have just like
Mm.
gone woof, in all aspects. It's been incredible. It's been amazing. It's been hard at times too,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's been a wild year.
amazing. Yeah, and actually maybe we'll come back to it because I think there is an inevitable transition when you finish a career or you leave a career to do something else. There's lots of things that kind of have to go, whether or not you're also starting to channel everything. Now, I think, Jo, but I'm not 100% sure, most people listening to this are going to understand what you mean when you say you're a channel. But if you were going to try and explain it to a 5-year-old in simple terms, just in case people are like, what the fuck are they on about? So we can just
Mhm.
have everyone on an equal playing field. How would you describe it?
Yeah.
Like,
So I've always been a channel, and when you hear the word channel, channeler, channeling being used, because it gets used a lot. Like if you're interested in this space and you're kind of moving in and learning and understanding about spiritual awakening, ascensions, or this kind of thing, coming back to your soul truth, all of that stuff. Channeling is about being able to receive through your clairs, so through your sight, your hearing, your sense, your clairsentience, your knowing, your claircognizance, and any other clairs that you may work with, because there's more than those, but they're kind of like the main four. And it's about receiving through those, and it's the claircognizance, it's the knowing that is the channel. That is
Mm.
where everything that has been up in your clairvoyance, your clair audience, and your clairsentience, those sort of like upper clairs, as I refer to it as, is when we drop then down into the claircognizance, the knowing, that
Yeah.
is the channel. That's the channel coming down, and it's like, yes, I know. So we have, all of us have a channel tube that runs from sort of the soul star chakra, which is the chakra that sits above the crown, where we receive light from source, frequency comes through, and the channel tube runs all the way down the center of our bodies. So when I say I channel, I am a trans channeler. So beings of light will speak through me. So there's some
Okay.
very famous trans channelers around. People that are listening might have heard of people like Bashar, or Lee
Yeah.
Harris.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, my guides and everything, and the people I work with, their guides will speak through me for me to be able to bring messages. And obviously we'll talk a bit more about what that actually results into, but that is for channeling. You don't have to trans channel, you can receive through any of those forms, and that is
Yeah.
channeling.
Yeah. So I would say for me, and it's easier for me to second guess mine, right? Because for me, I will get what feels like a thought or like a thing just pops into my mind. And sometimes I question, and I'm like, is this me? Is this coming in from something else? Like, what's going on here? Normally, if it's been very nice to me, I'm like, I don't think this is me. But but you're right. But there are all of these different ways that we receive information. And for me, my and I guess it is a form of channeling. A lot of the information that I get comes in through very vivid, very intense dreams. Sometimes very pleasant dreams, but often very vivid and intense dreams. Um, and again, you could still put that in the like, oh, it's just your subconscious, or a dream is just something completely different. But I imagine, and I can only imagine because it's not part of my lived experience, that actually having that physical experience of something channeling through you, and actually maybe that's a good question. Do you know it's happening? Are you aware of what you're saying? Like how what's it like for you, Joe?
What's it like? It's really hard to explain, but I'll do my best. So, yes, I do know it's happening. So the difference, so everyone is able to do this, and a lot of people do it and they don't understand that they're doing it in terms of the channeling. So musicians will channel. That's when I first understood that I was a channel, was when I was a musician. Um, but musicians channel, writers do, actors do, because it's a stream of consciousness rather than it coming from mind thought. And so when I'm when I'm channeling, when I'm having beings speak through me, I'm it doesn't only happen when I'm sat in meditation and I've been sat there for 30 minutes, and I'm just sitting there waiting and waiting. I mean, it wasn't always like that. It used to be, I used to have to sit for some time because it's like a muscle that you have to train. But for me, I can channel like a click of a finger, and I know it's happening because I can tell the difference between them and me. I can feel it in my body.
Yeah.
I and it's that stream of words and consciousness that isn't coming, it's not coming from me. Like they'll come out with words and things that I just wouldn't say in my normal human language. And I can't, I mean, if you said to me, Joe, can you just pull your guides forward now and start channeling them? I could do that. And I'll be out driving the car, or I'll be in the supermarket, and boof, they'll come in and they'll start speaking to me. And I don't always verbalize it. I can hear it in my mind, and that is them telepathically communicating with me, rather than it's a version of clairaudience, but it's telepathic communication. And I know it's not me, because the information they're giving to me is not something that's actually, it can be relevant to what I'm experiencing in that moment, but a lot of the time they're just dropping in things to bring my attention to something, or they'll bring something through that's completely unrelated to what I'm doing. And I'm like, why are we going over here? And they're just bringing something through, or they will come in and want to give me messages about a situation that I found myself in that day, or thoughts that I've had about something in that day, and they want to come in and give me some guidance and wisdom about it. They hear my thoughts all the time. These are my,
Yeah.
my main group of guides, the fleet, who are the ones that I work with the most closely. And they're the ones that generally will facilitate other beings come through. So they'll come through first, and
Yeah.
then they'll say, right, we're stepping back now, and we're going to be bringing through whoever,
Yeah.
Archangel Michael or the Palladians
Yeah.
or whatever. Um, so yeah, that's a long-winded way of saying yes, I do. When I'm in full trance channel though, it's not trance, so I'm not completely out of it. I know that I'm in it. I'm doing it with my eyes closed, and unless I'm walking, I can do it with my eyes open and walking about and living my daily life though. I get caught out at home very frequently. Who are you talking to? Because I forget that I'm saying it. Um, um, and I can hear what they're saying, but there's aspects of it that I just don't ever remember, because everything they share with me is for my highest. Sometimes they will share things with me that are really detailed, like super, super detailed. And other things other times they'll share very general things. And most of the time they'll tell me what aspects of it I'm going to remember or not.
Oh, that's good.
And sometimes they tell me things and they don't, and I won't remember it because it wasn't for my highest to remember it, but it was for my highest to receive it, which is super interesting. So a lot of the time when I'm sat actually deliberately connecting to them because I want some guidance on something, I want them to support me with something in my business or whatever it is,
Yeah.
I will often record it on my phone so that I can actually
Yeah.
read it back, because I won't remember everything that they said to me.
Yeah.
And they'll tell me to turn it off if it's something they don't want me to record.
No. Yeah. We don't want this recording.
Yeah.
So you found out, or you discovered, or you realized. So Joe and I have both had chats in the background about our musical pasts. So you realize that you are a channel when you're doing music. How did this develop? Because I'm guessing it didn't start in January, February of this year when you
No.
retired from being a detective. So yeah, like can you walk us through, I guess maybe go back a little bit if you don't mind, to what made you go into the police force, the journey to detective, how did this go alongside it?
Yeah.
Because if I think like I have worked with a retired police officer before, as a coach. And so I have some insights, and obviously it's like just only based on her experience. But I wouldn't have thought necessarily it was generally, tell me if I'm wrong, the most open environment for like
No, not
the
really.
galactic fleet
Yeah, no,
and anything else that
exactly.
comes through, including the trees.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's yeah, I mean, I joined the police when I was 24. So, and like all things, I used to think I just fell into it. But of course, that's not true, because that's not
Mhm.
how life works.
Yeah.
And the reason I know now, the reason that I became a police officer was because I needed to deal with my karmic stuff. And
Mm.
becoming a cop was part of that process, amongst many other things in my life. But being a police officer was about me clearing karma when it came to being seen, because you can't not be seen as a police officer. To be standing in my truth and standing in my power, but in a way that I was not using power for bad. I was using power for good, because I've had many lifetimes that are all running concurrently now, obviously, but where I used my what it can do for bad as well as good. So there's dark and light, and as there is with everybody. So I joined when I was 24, and I would say my career, I loved it. I loved being a cop. I didn't want a job that meant I was sat behind a desk pushing paper around. I wanted to get out, I wanted to meet people. I wanted to do something that was of use. I wanted to help people. I wanted to be able to have a job where I could have an impact.
Mm.
And all of that, everything that I wanted from being a police officer is everything that I continue to desire from my business now. But of course, I needed to do the things that I experienced as a police officer in order to get to where I am today.
Yeah.
And so I didn't I became a detective. I trained to be a detective, and then I went through the ranks. And I mean, prior to being a police officer, I was always psychic as anything, and
Right.
tarot cards and mediumship and all the things.
Right.
Seeing dead people in inverted commas and that kind of thing. So I was always very connected. Spoke light language as a child. Didn't know it was light language at the time, but it was because I was just pretending I was speaking foreign languages. And so it just got conditioned out of me as I became older, really. So when I joined the police, I wasn't walking around going, "Oh, I'm really psychic." It wasn't really like how that was really. But as I went on in my career, I always knew that I knew things that other people didn't know. So, for example, like missing people, we deal with missing people, people going missing, children, adults. I'd know things about the situation that other people just couldn't, like other officers couldn't glean.
Yeah.
More serious crime, like, well, any crime really, any serious assault, murder, all the things.
Yeah.
I'd have this understanding of things that were playing out, and you can't ever escape. Police officers are highly intuitive.
Mm.
It seems to attract that type of person, like somebody who's going
Yeah,
to
I bet.
work on their intuition, but it's also very black and white. It's either right or it's wrong. There's not really a grey area in the law. I mean, you know
Yeah.
this. You've
Mm.
worked in that read. So it's very black and white. So when I was faced with inquiries where I'm seeing something and we're not even going over there, and I'm like, right, we need to go over here to do this. And everyone's looking at me and says, well, why? Where's the evidence to suggest that we need to go over there and do that? I'm like, there isn't any, but let's just go over there and do that. And so that was one of the reasons why I got promoted very swiftly in the police and then retired at quite a senior rank, is because I was then able to say,
Yeah.
we're doing this, even, and I didn't have to explain myself. I would just say, no, I'm making the decision and we're doing this. So it was quite interesting. And because I was so, those people that I would interview, like when I was doing that, no one wanted to be alone in the room with me because I saw everything.
Yeah, but what was that like for you? And I say that because I know someone. I'm going to keep this very general because they aren't going to want me to talk about it on the podcast in a way that could identify them. I know someone that last year there were a couple of missing persons cases, and and it's the first time ever happened to them. They knew where those people were going to be found and how they were going to be found before they were found, and then that's what happened. And I think for them it was like a bit alarming of like shit. And then also a kind of it happened once, and then the second time it's like, well, do I do something with this? Like, are they going to listen to someone been like, so this is what I think's going on?
Yeah.
So yeah, so like what? So I appreciate you were in the right job. Um, but still, what was it like for you to be like, okay, well, I've got this nudge. It doesn't really make any sense, and it doesn't follow protocol.
Yeah, I mean, I was always somebody who works in the police who wasn't really here to walk the well-trodden path, and I've been
Mm,
like that all my life. And I was there to I was there to be visionary, even though there was like all these rules and regulation and red tape. I would always be going off and looking at things in a different way because I could see how something was going to play out. It wasn't even necessarily crime investigations. It could be process. It could be, it could be a system. And I would get, before I retired, actually, I was on quite a big project that ended up going national and potentially global because I could see what was required before everybody else could see it. And I got pulled in. I didn't ask to go on the project. I just knew that I would be asked to do it. And it was, it was a really successful project, this system that was created and changed. Because I could just see, I could foresee if we didn't do this, then this would then happen, and this would then result in that. And I could see how it was all going to play out and what the repercussions could be if we continued on this timeline. And so I think when it came to me being psychic and having that very intuitive ability, it didn't really impact on me hugely because I was just able to deliver that information or bring that into work in a way that, well, I was just Joe, that's what Joe would do. It was
Yeah.
kind of, do you know what I mean? It never really stood out as being, well, she's a bit strange. It was more difficult when it came to holding frequency, when it came to holding light. And as I became more spiritually evolved, as I became more high frequency, as I began to, as my physical system starting to shift and change and, moving, carrying less density, because my frequency was getting higher and higher and higher, that's when it became more difficult because I was working in such a dense environment that whilst I would send my light in and it all was fine to start with, and I'd be gridding the police station and I'd be gridding crime scenes and I'd be sending light codes to all these things and places and people. Whilst I was doing that, it got to a point when I was just like, this is actually getting really hard now because I was like I was having to be two different people almost. I was having to be me as a light leader, as a person who's here to do the work that I do through the business stuff that I do now, but also being somebody who has to be very black and white, has to be like this right, this is wrong, we're going over here type of thing. And it was that balance that I started to find really, really difficult. It wasn't why I left. It
Mm.
wasn't why I left, but it was becoming unsustainable for me. And so yeah, I think that was possibly the hardest thing. And I just felt like there was like this part of me, part of my soul that I wasn't able to t fully engage with when I was in the workplace. It was like I was being half of me.
Yeah.
I wasn't even being half of me. I was being a minuscule percent of who I was. And
I
that was what
oh,
became difficult.
I wouldn't, sorry for interrupting you. I wonder if you are giving a language, you are putting words to an experience that a lot of people have but they haven't necessarily got the language for it. I'll share what I mean and then you can say yes or no. What I have noticed is a lot of people that I work with who are doing their healing process, right? It's not necessarily intentionally a spiritual journey, but they're doing their healing process. They are becoming more connected to themselves. They are becoming more spiritual. Um, and actually, probably they are raising their frequency. They might not cognitively be aware of like my body is becoming less dense and stuff. But one of the conversations I have quite regularly is then that the office environment for them becomes intolerable. It's like they're like, how was I here before? Like I can't be in this space. I can't be around these people. And yes, they can do all of their things to protect themselves and put themselves in a certain place. But that way of being, it's like they get past a point of no return of like, I actually can't be in this environment.
Yeah.
I don't
definitely.
want to be in this environment anymore. And I just what you were saying then, I was like, I feel like that might be what they're experiencing.
Yeah, probably because, and I think as well, a lot of, I had my dark night of the soul. I had that whole kind of like, oh my God, who even am I anymore? Back in 2018, I think it was. It kind of
Me
started.
too. I think all the best people did in 2018, to be honest.
It kind of started in 2013, but 2018 was like the pinnacle.
Yes.
Um, and I was like, who even am I anymore? And I was, I was under massive scrutiny at work. I was under investigation for some decisions I made in the workplace. And I was basically being hounded out. They wanted to sack me for speaking my truth and for standing up for what I believed to be right in that moment. And I never left the police. I stayed in. I stayed in because that I knew at that moment that this part of my soul contract hadn't ended, and actually my light was still required in the police.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I still had some work to do. I think that when you feel like you can't tolerate something anymore because you're going through some kind of healing, or you're doing some, or you're becoming more, it's not really about healing, you're, like you say, it's becoming more connected to self,
Mm.
beginning to recognize that actually the majority, if not most of your life up until that point has just been a complete illusion, really. And
With all the grief that comes with
with all
that.
that, yeah. And actually everything that you're seeing going on around you, it's almost like it is literally like the Matrix, isn't it? You're looking out, you're in your physical body looking outwards and not feeling connected to what you're physically seeing with your eyes when you look out, because you know that everything you're seeing with your eyes is just theatre. It's just a play. It's not even real, because actually what is real is not what we see every day in our lives. It's a construct. Everything that we experience in our lives is here to keep us small. It's here to keep us constricted. It's here to keep us playing the rat race, to keep us, get up, have breakfast, go to work, come home, have dinner, go to bed. Oh shit, I've not got enough money. And then we go round the cycle again. Oh, this is the way it's always been, so this is how it will be. This is what happened. This is what my mum and dad did. This is what my grandparents did. All of
Yeah.
that stuff. And actually, when you're starting to reconnect to yourself, what we're actually doing is actually reconnecting to source, and you're connecting back in not just to yourself as a person, as a human, but you're connecting back into your multidimensional self. You're connecting back into the fact that you're a fractal of source frequency, that you're not separate from anything or anyone that you're seeing and interacting with. And that when you start to understand that everything is connected and there's no separation between anything, because you're returning back to that place where you see yourself as just a piece of frequency with just an atom that's vibrating at a frequency that creates what you physically see with your eye. But it's not what you see when you look outwards is what you perceive to be true, not necessarily the truth. Does that make sense? That was channeled, by the way, so I'm sorry for your listeners
Yeah.
who are like, what the
No, it does.
frig?
No,
What the frig did
it
you
does.
just
No,
say?
no, it does make sense. And I think it'll blow some people's minds. And I'm like, I think that's all right. It's like, like either you get it or like one day you'll get to a certain point and you'll be like, oh, that lady on that podcast that time. She was talking about this and it all makes sense now.
Well, it's physics. I mean, it's quantum physics, isn't it?
Yeah,
And this. I mean,
yeah.
let's not go down that road because I'm not a quantum physician, but that is what it is. It's based on science. It's not woo woo spiritual. It's actually science.
Yeah, but if you think about, but if we deconstruct a little bit of what you've just said, we do live in this. world where, like, and people could call me a conspiracy theorist. I just generally think I'm a critical thinker, but we do live within systems and structures that are very intentionally set up to keep us disconnected, compliant, shut down, on the treadmill, right? Full
Yeah.
scale from like and there's I mean, you go down the rabbit hole, and there's a lot of different rabbit holes to go down about all the different ways that they do this. So I'm not really surprised that in 2018 you had the issues that you had because being female, and we're not anti-male, but being a female who was that connected in that position, I imagine for some people you were a problem.
I was, and yeah, I was, and I was very well respected at work when
Mm,
it suited.
yeah.
And this has been a karmic cycle that I've had to close out. And it's funny actually because I posted something about this today on my Instagram because the or something came through my channel, can't remember which now, but the karmic cycles that I've experienced that I've needed to close out have been understanding that being in your soul's truth, being who you really are at the very core soul essence of you, outside of all the conditioning and all the other stuff and all the stories and the patterns and all that shit that we pick up, because bless them, our mum and dad didn't know any better. They didn't know any different. Love them, but they didn't know any different. And so when we go beyond, we go beneath all of that and we go back to who the truth of who we really are, it can't be with conditions. It can't be, well, it's all right that you're like that, but as long as you don't say this or that, or speak up and say this, or be too loud, or do this, or whatever. So when I was in the police, what I've come to understand, because it is a journey of understanding and looking back and seeing what's played out, there was, yes, I was very well respected. Yes, I got promoted. I did all right. I was doing all right. But when I stood up and said, hang on a minute, no, or yeah, or I disagreed, or I said, or I just refused outright to do something, all of a sudden my voice was suffocated. And I was told, well, no, that's not acceptable, Joe, because you have to toe the party line. You have to do it this way. You have to be like this. You're a leader. You're setting an example. And of course, my argument was, well, I am setting an example for others to be able to express themselves without fear of
Yeah.
retribution. And and I experienced that quite a few times towards the end of my career. I probably experienced that another two times, which meant I actually left the police force that I was in and went to a totally new one, transferred out. And in that final 4 years of my career, in that last police force, I was meant to move. I was meant to transfer because that police force, I could speak my truth. I spoke my truth. I stood who I was. No one that last period of my career showed me that it was safe to be in my truth. It showed me that it was safe to speak about who I was, why I was here. It's when I started my side business. I really started to fully step into it, but I had to go through all of that other stuff, all of that other crap that I had to go through in order to see how safe it was to be me and to be me, all of me, to take up space, to shine my light and be that light for people who and to do the work that I'm born to do, basically, because we're not just all born to do one thing, um, but to do the things that I'm born to do, and which is what I do now. It's the next part of my mission, um, but yeah, really, really kind of like quite profound experiences that I just see as pure gifts, just absolute gifts, like the shadow gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? It's interesting when we look back. Those, but also isn't it interesting when you look back because the stuff that feels hard at the time. So I think one of my, I very much fell off the pedestal at PwC in 2018 when I stopped being the like people pleaser that was like the yes, 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 please love me. Um, the fall from the pedestal was a hard one. Um, but then you look back now and it's like I needed to learn. I like all of those experiences were needed for the next phase.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that, this is not to say that we should just keep looking back all the time because we've got to be here now. This is the only moment we've got right here, right now. We can't keep going back and dredging it all up and rubbing salt in the wound and stuff. But we have to go back to look at it. You have to go back to look at some of this stuff because actually it is showing you where you're still not fully stepping in. And I have had experiences since then, like in my business, going viral, coming out as a galactic channel, sharing light language, doing all the things that I do, which are that were less than seen less than mainstream when it comes to the spiritual
Yeah,
community.
yeah,
And I again was shown about visibility. I was again shown about standing in my truth. I was again shown about what it means for me to be all of me and not soften the edges. And, this is not about me being, you know, uh, like being audacious for the sake of it. It's just about me saying who I am and what I do. And I've been shown that over and over and over again because it doesn't matter if we're operating from our highest state, we're moving from our superconscious, we still, that part of us still has shadows. So like it never goes away, but actually observing it, understanding it and loving it and saying, oh, here we go again, and because each stage is another evolution in our growth to reach that place where we are totally living our truth. And for some people, it can be really extreme, like giving up their job, leaving a marriage or relationship, moving house. It can be big things, but it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be the big bang of your whole life collapsing around. For some people, it is. For some, it
yeah,
is. But it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. Everybody's path is different.
yeah, yeah. So I'm conscious of time, and there's so many other things that I want to ask you about. So there might need to be a part. There's normally needs to be a part two. Um, Thinking about the shedding of this year, what would you share? And I guess what would you share to anyone who is contemplating a career change or a business move or a pivot that feels a bit edgy, in terms of the joys that come with that
Mm.
and the shedding and all of that good stuff.
Yeah. So when I think about what I do for my work now, when I talk about how I help people, when I talk about the connection I have, when I talk about and think about the incredible experiences that I get to have doing my business, I will 9 times out of 10, and it's starting already, start to my eye, I start to feel the tears prick behind my eyes because it is my soul truth. It is like, this is why I'm here, it's what I'm here to do. So the first question is, do your eyes prick with tears when you think about what you do now or what you would love to do? At what point do you think I have to do this? I can't not. And if that strikes something within you, gives you chills in your body, makes you want to cry, that 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 moment is that is what alignment is. Yeah, we hear that word all the time about what does alignment, that's what alignment means. When you can't not do it and it makes you want to burst into tears because the thought of not doing it makes you feel as though you are ripping your soul out. And no one is going to ever say any of this is easy because it's really not.
Sometimes
It's
it's very
not.
inconvenient, isn't
It's
it?
very
Like,
inconvenient.
why do I have to be the one that does this?
Yeah, it's very inconvenient and it's not easy. But we're now in this place where people are waking up. They're waking up to the truth of who they are. They're waking up to the fact that there's more to what they thought was what their life was going to be, look like. There's more to what exists than what you can physically see with your eyes when it comes to your multidimensional self and what you can access. More and more people are understanding that there is this sense of peace that you can find within yourself, but it doesn't come from being in the hamster wheel. And there's people are curious about that. And many people want to access their guides. They want to access their spirit guides. They want to be able to connect in. There will be many, many people listening who either have connected to their guides or know that they've got guides, or there's synchronicities or signs and things happening. They just know. There's just this deep knowing. There's this knowing that something or someone or is trying to communicate. And the only way you can really get to that place where you feel like you can connect in and receive and expand your mind consciousness is by going through self first. You have to go through self first. You have to go through the shadow. You have to go through all of that which you have pushed down because you're too freaking scared to look it in the eyes and say, right, I'm ready. And the day you choose to say that you're ready to look it in the eyes and face into it is the day you experience true liberation, the day that you stop silencing yourself, and the day that you understand that actually, if you can't be yourself, then you are not opening yourself up to what is infinitely available to you.
Yeah, beautiful. Jules. Um, there might not be time for this, but it's a very important question because it's come to me a couple of times. Is there anything that the fleet would like to share before we finish?
Oh, well, they've already been having a good old natter for the last
I
35 minutes.
I know they've been jumping in, but I just wondered.
Let's see what if they want to say anything. Calling fleet. Thank you for letting us come through today. We appreciate it, and we are here to share a very short message for you and your listeners. This is the first time we have been on a podcast. We think this is fun. The way we want to share this message for you is for you to hear this with your heart, to hear the words that are not just for your ears, and to receive them with your hands on your heart. You may choose to close your eyes. We say this: you are a divine being of light. You are not here for suffering or for sacrifice. You are here to be a divine being who has access to anything and everything you desire. You must remember that when you return to work, that what you are here for is to be fulfilled and to be happy. Of course, we say that you will experience tough times and emotions come up. You are human, and whilst we are not, we understand this. But you are not here to be drowned with emotion of sadness or frustration or feeling as though things just can't be like that for you. You are here to live your life from pure bliss, even when that sounds ridiculous when you think about everything that is going on in the world and when you know that things aren't always rosy. You are here to be blissfully peaceful, to return to that state where you are stable in your own thoughts and your heart, you to be peaceful in the knowing that you are just you, unique just as you are. And when you fully see that there is so much love that you can access through your heart for yourself, this is what you need to reach in order to find peace. The mind of the human can play tricks. This has so much impact on people being able to express who they are and what they really want in life. The heart knows. For you, we thank you. We love you forevermore.
Thank you.
You're
That was
welcome.
beautiful. I closed my eyes and put my hands on my heart. Um, and it felt lovely to receive. And it's an honor to have been the podcast debut for the fleet to share a message.
They have
So
got a sense of humour.
brilliant. I love it. So, Joe, if people are intrigued, they want to know more about you, they want to have some support from you. I don't think we've necessarily said a lot about how you actually help people. So, if you want to just a little bit on how you actually do help people, and where they can find you if people would like to explore more as we draw to a close, that would
Yeah.
be amazing. Because as discussed, this is not my wheelhouse. So if other people are like, I need some help with this, I'm not your gal, but Joe probably is.
Amazing. So yeah, you can find my main platform is Instagram. So you can find me on there at Joe underscore the underscore channel. I do flit on and off Instagram. Sorry, LinkedIn, and I'm on my profile on Facebook, but most of my work goes on Instagram. So if you would like to connect with me, I'd love for you to come and say hi. The thing is that when people listen to me or watch me speaking, you will be activating because I'm an activator. So there'll be something within you that if you're ready, if this, if it's your time, there will be something that within you you will feel something happening. I help people in a number of ways, and I do this through bringing people into the space where they are no longer behest of their own shadow and their own, their own minds, their limitations that they have in their mind about what is possible for them. I have got shadow mastery, so, and I have got very unique, slightly radical ways of taking people through that
Mhm.
process. I'm also here not just to awaken people up to the 5D and beyond. That's not just my role because I'm not here. There are many people out there that are doing that. I work with people that are already on that place where they know that as a planet and as humanity, we're moving out of the 3D, moving beyond the fourth and into fifth dimension. And so the work that I do through all of that is to bring people's bodies, their physical bodies, in line with their mind consciousness. because many people are out there getting more and more activations, sound baths, listening to light language, going to retreats, part layering and layering all the activations, as well as that which we can't control, such as the human resonance, the frequency that we're receiving, um, as a planet and as a humanity. But people's physical bodies are crashing. And this is about bringing the human body, releasing the density and bringing us back to that crystalline state and and shifting the DNA and the fascia and the cells and the organs so that you don't, as you begin to spiritually wake, as you go on that journey of awakening and ascension and all the things, your physical body is keeping up with it. You're not crashing out with exhaustion. You're not taking steps forwards and then retreating and thinking, oh, I just need to integrate a bit longer. I just need to sit in the void. We love a bit of void action. I love a bit of void action, but we don't want to be staying there. We actually want to be moving forwards. So that's a lot of the work. I recode the physical body. I recode and recalibrate and do all of that through my channeling, through light language, through light codes, through my guides, through your guides, because they're there waiting on the sidelines saying, we're ready when you are, type of thing. So that's what I do. And I create light code artwork. I do loads of things. Come and check me out. If you resonate, then come and say hi. Give me a follow, come and say hi. And yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And come and let us know what you made of this episode.
Yes.
I love it. Look, I love having all of these different people on. So, Kathleen will be like, so there's going to be a Christmas Day episode that's something a bit different, which will have obviously happened by now. And then the first of this, the second of this, whatever it is, the first December episode, because I do one every 2 weeks. Kathleen's going to be on, so it's going to be
Ah.
really so like share. So it'll be really interesting because these are now people that are kind of in my mastermind space. So it's a whole nother ball game again. Like other people, I know. So it will just be really interesting. Um. So yes, come and let us know your thoughts. Go and give Jo a follow. Her art is out of this world, amazing, incredible, beautiful art. Yes, I did notice some in the background there. Um, just absolutely stunning. And yeah. So, Jo, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you very much.
Welcome to 2026.
Yes.
I'm gonna put a pin in. Let's see what happened after the solstice.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm going for the end of February.
Okay. All right. Okay, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks with who knows what at this point. All right, thanks, Jo.
Yeah.
Bye.